So I work for the Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service, specifically here in Llano County. Agrilife, our whole goal is to improve the lives of Texans, however we can do it. So my role as a family and community health county agent is to improve the lives of Texans however we have. So this is just meant to be a short little talk. As Ms. Tricia showed y'all, we're going to be doing some great upcoming things. She and I are both really excited about it. I'm going to do some healthy eating classes and also some financial literacy classes here in the library. So those are upcoming, and we've been trying to work on this for a long time. And finally, the county's going to allow her to have programming here in the library again. Yeah. So we're getting started. So y'all are my guinea pigs. My very first one is today.
Did you want us to wear a mask?
Action to be active, and it's just to encourage adults to be more active and have more exercise in your life. Do y'all currently have an exercise program, workout, do anything?
I feed my livestock.
There you go. Yes, ma'am.
Walk.
Yes, ma'am. And I do the same. People ask me what I do for a hobby, and I said I ranch. And they're like, "Well, are you active?" And I said, "I ranch." So I'm like, at least we don't have a grasp of what ranching is. So if we begin, this is Harold's story, and y'all excuse me if I read. Like I say, this last couple of weeks have been kind of crazy for me. So we have Harold. Seeing his hard work pay off, especially seeing his blood work drop, the greatest achievement from being physically active. So this gentleman has type 2 diabetes, and he has now been in a weekly program for years of walking a 2-mile course in his neighborhood every day, which takes about 45 minutes. In addition to his walking, he added strength training in the basement of his house. He got him a weight set,
Cool.
different kinds of squats and shoulder presses. He's proof that if you stay active, that you can actually help manage chronic diseases, especially diabetes being really, really important. This gentleman's wake-up call came when he was at his yearly doctor's visit, and nothing was good. His cholesterol was high, his triglycerides were high, and that's when he found out he had type 2 diabetes, which I was intrigued when I began this job. I've lived in Llano for almost 7 years now, but I was intrigued when I got the job. We actually have a quite high incidence of diabetes in Llano County. We really do.
I did not know that.
Yes, ma'am. And so it's something that we've worked to focus on, trying to do some better education with that as well. So he got really serious about taking care of himself.
He looks great. Harold looks
Yes,
great.
ma'am, he does. It's unfortunate, that it came after some bad news, but, at least we got a wake-up call. So he's healthy. This gentleman, after he started his working out, he lost 65 pounds.
Wow.
More energy, and is able to control his diabetes with diet rather than insulin. So that's always better if you can control that way. These rewards have motivated him to keep up his routine. And of course, if you have or know of people that have diabetes, there's huge concerns, loss of eyesight, having to lose limbs, if you will. So internal damage, that kind of thing. So Harold, after all his work, his cholesterol, triglycerides, blood sugars are significantly down. And so his doctors even joked with him, asking him what he has done. So I think it's really, really important that we all stay active. Miss Sarita will tell you, my papa's 85. He's neat to nuts. And he ranches full time. And I recently took a new friend to meet him, and he's like, "You would never know that your father was 85. And I think, it's that, activity and keeping staying active that's been really, especially my mother passed almost 5 years ago. So it's been really important for me that he stays active and stays going, especially since she left us. So do you think that it's safe for older adults to be active?
Yes.
I do too. Again, and a testament that, just like we just talked about, keeping everything moving helps you go. So whether it's a low level intensity or a high level intensity, depending on what your body is comfortable with. And I think I'm getting ahead of myself in the presentation, but if you're not, whatever your body will safely handle, they say, no pain, no gain. Not really, because then the first thing you do, right, when you hurt, then you quit. So going up to a level where you experience some effort, but don't hurt yourself. I think that's where some people can get into trouble. So any physical activity is going to improve your health. It's really, really important regardless of any age. So what is recommended? growing and as the cells start to mature. So keeping the body active can actually help in the healing process because that cell turnover is not as fast. So keeping the body moving is really important. Also, we suggest for adults muscle strengthening 2 times a week for moderate or to high intensity. The thing about this is you have to be careful with this, especially as we age, but you know, there are some guidelines in terms of the muscle strengthening, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. So it is really interesting that there's been, if you look at the level of people who are active, of course, 30.7% of 18 to 24-year-olds are active, and 15.9% of people over 65. And I apologize for the data, this data is probably a little out of date, but it was the most recent presentation I had. However, I would like to note that that is really good, though, because that has gone up from years before. It used to be about half that of our adults over 65 are active. So this is better. We're having some encouraging statistics. Rates for adults between 55 and 64 are about 17% are physically active. But I don't think I wonder who they ask in these myself, you know? I mean, do you ask people at a doctor's office, or where do these polls come from? I often wonder when we see some of these statistics where these numbers were derived. But so again, we have gotten a tremendous change in the adults over 65 meeting physical activity guidelines from 5.5 in 1998 to 11.9. Again, these are somewhat older statistics, but still, that is an improvement. But we also note, and again, I'm probably getting ahead of myself. Oh, no, we're right on time. We are having, if you will, for lack of a more proper way of putting it, a graying of the population. We're just living longer. We're living longer. I mean, how many times do we say it and hear it every day? Age is nothing but a number. It's in your state of mind. It's how you behave. So if we think about that, the next few decades, we're going to have more and more of an over 65 population. Between 2012 and 2050, it's expected that adults over 65 are expected to increase from 314 million to 400 million. Wow. So if we talk about, you know, the baby boomers and the generation of, you know, people from Vietnam veterans and everything like that, we're going to get more and more people of that particular age. So now, by the year 2030, it's expected that the U.S. population will be 20% people over 65, compared with 13%, you know, in past statistics. And also, again, if we look at life expectancy, what is average life expectancy now in the U.S.? It's well over 75 years, you know, which is tremendous, you know, compared to what it has been in the past. So bottom line, we're just living longer, and so we need to work at staying healthier. If we look at it from a disease standpoint, so multiple chronic conditions, here would be examples, hypertension, diabetes, anything, arthritis, anything along those lines. Of course, people younger than 65 years, 1 in 4 are going to have a chronic condition. 65 and older, 3 in 4.
Almost everybody.
Yes, ma'am. Well, if you think about it, how many people do you know over the age of 65 that maybe don't take a blood pressure medicine? It's very, very few. It's very, very few. So it's I think I've had junk in here. I woke up this morning and I could feel it. I'm like, I don't know what's in the air, but it needs to leave. So, but it is, you know, and again, a lot of it has to do with things we've done in our lives. And then also, again, the cellular turnover is slower. There's genetic predispositions for certain diseases. I personally know I'm going to have skin cancer. Everybody in my family has had skin cancer. I'm a German, okay? I mean, it's what we do. So it's one of those things. There's all sorts of reasons. So it's actually so important for seniors to stay healthy and active in terms of a healthcare cost. If you consider chronic diseases are a huge, huge, huge portion of what healthcare actually takes care of. So let's see. Some of those examples that these are chronic diseases we list: heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, lung disease, arthritis. Between 1998 and 2008, so again, this is a little older data, the number of older adults with 4 or more chronic condition rose from 11.7% to 17.4%.
Wow.
So again, we definitely have some issues. So again, this data, I apologize for the age of it. I need to see about getting some updated data. But 2.7 trillion 10 years ago. Can you imagine what it is? I wouldn't even want to hazard a guess as to what it is today. It's estimated that 67% of healthcare dollars in the United States are spent on adults over 65, which again, so traditional methodology was just to treat what ailed you rather than work on prevention. So that's been a lot of focus of what Agrilife, and all of these programs that we deliver, Agrilife programs, are science-based. It's not just like it's my opinion or someone, these are science-based programs. So it's wonderful to promote a healthy living, including improved exercise, and then also, again, improving total quality of life. So, all that background to say, what we're going to talk about is go for 30 to get 30 minutes of physical activity. And that can be so many different things. Do all of you ladies garden? Well, there you go. There's something that you don't necessarily think of, but being active, and I couldn't keep something alive. I have 2 plants, 2. And one of them is a 20-year-old banyan, so I can keep it alive.
So physical activity doesn't have to be setting aside 30 minutes to walk. It could be in your day.
Yes, ma'am. And that's also in here. If you can't do 30 minutes at a time, maybe do 10 minutes at a time throughout the day. If you're in a time constraint, or perhaps if your body is not able, if you're just getting started, the whole idea is just getting up and moving. Any moving is helpful. Any moving is helpful. I've noticed as we all get older, the longer I sit still, it's bad. If I sit, I was with a friend yesterday and we were in the air conditioning in his car, and I go to stand up and that cold air conditioning on my crackly knees, I was like, just a minute, while I unfold and get out of here. But we all notice it. I do miss the days when I didn't make noises when I got out of bed. I miss those days. I mean, there are only more to come. Well, God willing, there'll be more to come, right? So if we talk about, again, we're talking about 30 minutes. So to try to get 150 minutes a week of activity, or like I say, 75 minutes of rigorous physical activity. So
They used to have us water.
Physical activity is safe for almost, obviously there's going to be people that are just simply physically unable to. But for the most part, anybody can get up and get going. You need to choose a level of activity that's right for you. Listen to your body. Like I say, that no pain, no gain, they used to say all that time. No. Because if you get to the point where you actually hurt your body, then you have to go through the healing process. And again, as we just talked about, as we age, that slows down. So I find, do y'all get bruises in places you don't know where they came from? I mean, I've always bruised easy, but I was like, I don't know what I ran into, but evidently it decided to leave a mark. So there's 4 types of exercise. Endurance, brisk walking. I myself, although I didn't this morning, I'm not going to story because it was raining and I have a metal roof. The rain on the metal roof, I was sleeping really well. So a brisk walk every morning, yard work, or gardening, dancing, swimming. Those are examples of endurance.
We should have a mall here.
Ma'am?
Be nice if we had a mall.
So it would be indoors, yes, ma'am. Those are neat.
Go to Tractor Supply and just walk around and around.
Well, Tina and I would, after hours, you can walk the library. If you go in and out of each of the stacks and you do it like 5 or 6 times, you get like a half a mile in. You can do it. If you go all the stacks and go around in the children's area, we got a mile in just walking in the library. So you're always welcome to come in and walk library.
So what endurance exercises do for us, improve our heart function, any of these movements that increase your heart rate, blood flow, lung capacity, can build your endurance. So those are really, really important. 3 signs of endurance exercises: you breathing hard, fast heart rate, large body movements. Obviously I'm kind of tall, so when I walk fast. And so people are like, my girlfriends are quite a bit shorter than I am, and so they're like, slow down. I'm like, I'm sorry. My legs are high off the ground, we move. We move. So when we talk about strength exercises, this can be resistance training, lifting weights, using resistance bands. Actually, your body can be a form of resistance. So if you take your hands and like you're going to pray and push real, real hard together for about 10 seconds, and you feel it in your arms. So that's a form. So your body can actually be a form of resistance when we work on this. So maybe you feel pressure different places. If you didn't, again, don't feel alarmed. Everybody's different. I should probably lift more weights, but like I say, there's feed sacks for that. So I just use feed sacks for that.
50 pounds at a time.
50 pounds at a time. Flexibility. Now these can be really, really important. Makes your body more flexible and limber. Calf stretches or yoga.
Look how limber she is.
I
like
know.
I've never been able to go that far down.
I know. Like people, even when I was young, they're like, "Can you touch your toes?" I'm like, "Have you seen how far it is from the top of me to the bottom of me? Long way, long way." But anything simple. Now I do try every once in a while. I'll do this. You know, you sit at your desk and you give a nice neck roll, or that one is. And we should all do that. We should all do that. Shoulder stretches, shoulder and arm raise, back stretch, ankle stretch. Any of these can be beneficial and increase your flexibility. So if we do pointers for flexibility, slowly stretch into your desired position as far as possible without pain, and then stretch for 10 to 30 seconds to do each exercise 3 to 5 times. Never bounce, never bounce. That's where you can strain something, is if you bounce when you're stretching. Try to remember to relax, breathe, and repeat, okay? It's really, really important, especially for aging adults, because if you consider one of three adults over 65 fall each year, and you know some of those falls can be quite severe. I was personally, of course, when we went through all the ice, it scared the out of me, because my sister and I were stuck here, and our 85-year-old little boy was at the ranch by himself, and my sister and I were petrified. And of course, then he confessed he did fall twice on the ice.
Ooh.
He went out to feed the dogs in his Crocs on the ice. I was like, he goes, "I shouldn't have worn my Crocs on the ice." I was like, "No, you shouldn't have worn your Crocs on the ice." Falling once doubles your chance of falling again. So it is really important to work on flexibility and balance.
And when you go to the doctor at my age, they ask if you've fallen recently.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Well, and even at my age, Miss Rita, they'll ask me, and I was like, "I work livestock. Of course I have fallen down." And then they look at you, and I'm like,
It happens.
"It happens. They're big. You're trying to get out of their way. You know, they don't mean to sometimes. They're big, and they turn around." So, yeah, but I don't know if you're supposed to tell the truth or story about the fall if you work there. I just don't know anymore. Balance, again, can help prevention of falling. Lower body strength exercises can improve balance. Standing on one foot, walking heel to toe. There are a variety of things, balancing back leg raises and side leg raises. These can all help improve balance, okay? It's very important to have something to steady you so that you, again, we're trying to prevent falls, okay?
What was the figure you gave for the number of falls? Like the number of people?
1 in 3.
Wow.
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
a lot.
That is a lot. Well, you know, a third. Well, and like I say, it can be, you know, anything. And I know, I asked Papa when he goes to the doctor if he tells the truth, because, like I say, he'll get behind. And our cattle are really gentle, but sometimes they'll just walk backward, and he will get on the ground because, I mean, they'll bump him, and his balance is wonderful, but not as good as it has been in the past, of course. And so it is an issue. Yes, ma'am. So regardless of age, everybody benefits. And this is just like what Miss Tricia was bringing up. If you don't have 30 minutes, that's fine. 10-minute intervals throughout the day. Sweeping is actually pretty darn good exercise. Yes, ma'am. And so I think when they look at these figures of activity in people, again, I wonder what questions they ask. Because I'm sorry, you sweep enough floors and you can feel that you swept a floor.
Mopping especially.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am. Dancing. I love to dance, and so sometimes I will dance around my kitchen island. I have an island in my kitchen, and I'll dance around it sometimes. I should make it a better habit because it always makes you feel good, stuff like that. And also, exercise will release endorphins and actually be mood improving. So there's a variety of different benefits. that can be reaped from it. So making going for 30 a habit. Have a plan. Have a walking buddy. Have a just a set aside time if you need to schedule it. This is my time. I'm going to do this right now for me. Add variety to it. Do something fun. Go for a nature hike. Go, some of our beautiful, beautiful areas and see the flowers. I haven't done it and I want to, just go piddle around in Mill Pond Park in San Saba or some of the other beautiful parks we have around here.
That's beautiful.
With big walking trails and just, make a day of it.
We're
Just
just
enjoy.
30 miles north.
Yes, ma'am.
In San Saba, and then you turn right at the red light. It go out, a mile or so.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not far on your
But it's
right.
beautiful. It has walking trails and there's
It has a
water.
beach. Yeah,
Yes,
it has a little bitty beach.
Yes, it's
Awesome.
quite lovely.
Pretty flowers.
Yes, so there's so many things you can do just to be more active and not even realizing that you're doing it. So when you have a plan, so what will you do? Again, I like to walk. This body was not built for speed. It really wasn't. God bless those people that love to run. If you see me running, something is getting out the gate or something is chasing me. Okay, it's not,
You don't do it on purpose.
do not. Well, when something's getting out the gate, miss, I do it on
But
purpose.
I mean,
but
not to just do it.
No,
You
ma'am.
don't do it just.
No, ma'am. Why do you want to do it? Do you want to do it to improve your mood? Do you want it to improve your flexibility? Do you want to just a little bit of time for you? When will you do it? I prefer first thing in the morning. To take a brisk walk. I find that it gets my crackly old knees going for the day and everything like that, improves my mood to start the day. And where will you do it? One thing that I really, really appreciate about living in Llano, before I lived here, I lived in the Deep South. I'm from the hills, but I lived in the Deep South. And it wasn't anywhere near as safe as it is here in town, comparatively. I mean, if you think about it, we are incredibly blessed to live in this community and have the resources we do. I walk through the streets, actually, in the dark.
I have friends that go to the cemetery. And
Oh,
they
yes.
walk
Yep.
there.
Oh, yes, and I enjoy that as well because I enjoy reading the history.
Yeah.
I don't know, some people might find it a little odd, but I enjoy reading the history, on the tombstones. And I read a little German too, so I enjoy
Oh,
reading,
fun.
the different, yes. I've done that as well, yes, ma'am. And you can get a lot of steps in that cemetery.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of steps. And, they keep it so nice and mowed and everything like that. And if you go, kind of like your stacks, if you go in and out of
Yeah.
you can get a lot
A
of steps in.
Fitbit, a lot of people get the Fitbit.
Yes, ma'am.
And this was done, I guess, before the Fitbit.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
Yes, ma'am.
important. It'll remind you to get up and get going.
Yes, ma'am. My sister has one that reminds for 250 steps an hour is what it'll remind you to do, and it'll start fussing at her. She doesn't make her 250 steps an hour. By contrast, my friend that I work with, Karina, she has an Apple Watch, and so it does something similar. It'll talk to her phone, and sometimes when she gets really, really wound up in the office, it'll say, "Take a deep breath. You seem stressed." Or something like that. And I get so tickled because it usually is when she's about to blow her stack. So I'm like, "Well, that thing knows you."
I'm not sure I want anything to know me that well.
I know. That's what I said.
Phones also keep track of your walk.
Ma'am?
The iPhones.
Yes, ma'am, and mine does as well. I have a Fit app. I have an Android, but I have an app in it. Except I don't think it's kind of accurate because some of these days where I feel like I've been everywhere, I'm like, I think you're storying. I don't think you're quite accurate. Like the days we work in the concession stand at Crawfish, it'd be like I would only have like 8,000 steps, and I'm like, I know, because when you can feel it in your feet and your knees, I'm like, no, you're storying. So adding variety is also incredibly important. Make everything fun. We can actually turn a lot of different things into physical activity. Trying to just be conscious of taking more steps rather than, taking your car, taking your, just be conscious of that. I try to work hard on it. Like I say, I'm blessed to be able to ranch, to not take the mule. I try to be conscious. No, I'll just walk. It's not that far. It's better for me to just walk. My father will be like, "Do you want to take that?" And I was like, "No, sir. I would like to walk." It's important. And he does really well too, so that's important. Endurance, strength, flexibility, and balance. Trying new activities, riding a bike, dancing, golfing. and have a fitness buddy. Have somebody to help hold you accountable. Hey, come on, it's time to go. Hey, let's, get your shoes on. It's time to go. And it's always nice. I've seen lovely ladies here around town, like on my walks, and it's just a nice girl time for a lot of women. Just have, you can see them in pairs, walking around town, and I'm like, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Gives you some time to visit with another lovely lady, and also physical activity. So there's so many different benefits to it. Be safe. We need to warm up to prevent injury, do a little stretching, make sure to drink plenty of water, and wear proper clothes and shoes. I'm sorry, I am a shoe snob. If my feet are uncomfortable, it is kryptonite to Superman. We are stopping everything. And there's nothing worse than blisters. Y'all know it. If you have a pair of ill-fitting shoes when you're doing something active or anything like that. So be conscious of that. Something that, either dries quickly when you get hot, or, might need to think of it if you're going to be in the dark, something reflective or light colored, So I always have a little flashlight when I walk first thing in the morning in the dark. Not because I can't see, but I want the cars to see me. It's kind of an important thing. So as we get going, you might find that 2 miles you're walking is getting easier and easier. So you want to increase the intensity. Maybe add a longer length to your walk, or add something like maybe a little weights or anything like that. Anything that isn't going to increase your breathing rate and heart rate is good for you. Try for at least 30 minutes per session, and at least 3 days a week. At least 3 days a week. So track your success, and that doesn't necessarily mean the scale. That does not mean the scale. If you just overall feel better, if your mood is improved, you've increased your flexibility, you can tell your balance is getting better. I see it on some of these things that I follow for lovely women and gentlemen that have had huge weight success stories. You call them non-scale victories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have non-scale, those can be a variety of different things. So more energy again, better mood, easier to do your daily activities. Anything that is going to improve your quality of life is a good idea. Believe in the benefits. No matter what you do, the more active you are later in life, the more it's going to benefit you, and the better longevity. And even, whether it's medications or anything like that, you might see a reduced need for some of your medications as you're more active. So there's always benefits. So take action today, y'all. Go for 30. And thank you. And
Yay! Yay! Do you have any suggested links to online activities or exercise lists or things like that?
I can find some. I'll tell you what I do have. I have little, keep you accountable calendars.
Oh, neato.
To show, different days of the week you do things and how you go about doing it. Just to keep, I find